In this lesson, we'll look at the AutoComplete text view widget. An AutoComplete is a text box that shows a list of suggestions while the user types. It's almost a cross between a text box and a drop-down list. It's fairly similar to a text box when we're laying out a screen. The biggest difference is how the list items are populated. To demonstrate, we'll go to this screen and we'll add our AutoComplete. And we'll leave it with all default attributes. The next thing we need to work on is the list item. And the list item is going to require a resource. I've already added a resource for the list item, and the resource is going to determine how the list item looks when it's shown to the user. In this case, all we have is a text view, and we've changed the text size and the text color a little bit, but basically it's just a label. Now these resources can get a lot more complicated, and we'll see that when we're working with list views. But for an AutoComplete, just a straight old text view is totally appropriate. The next thing we'll take a look at is how to populate the list items in code. So I want this AutoComplete to have a list of countries in it. And I've created a string array variable with a list of countries in it. I'm sure you didn't want to see me type that. And now we'll create a variable for the AutoComplete itself. And then we'll create something called an array adapter. The array adapter is used to join an array of items with a resource. We'll then pass this adapter to the AutoComplete for its use. Now we'll associate the AutoComplete with its resource. Hopefully I typed that correctly. And now we'll create the adapter. And it will be a new array adapter of type string. And the first thing we need is a context, and we're going to use this activity for the context. The second thing we need is the layout resource for the list items. And the last thing we need is the actual list itself. So that will create our adapter and populate it with those items. Finally, we associate the adapter with the AutoComplete. So now we'll give that a run and see how it works. So here's our AutoComplete text box, and I'll start typing a country name into it. And here's our drop down, and you can see that the country names begin with TA. The user can just click a country name, and instead of typing all of the letters, the selection is filled in for them. So that makes entry a lot easier, particularly with an on-screen keyboard.